Today's docket is case 2021-115, located at 924 8th Avenue South, seeking a variance from the screen wall fence height requirements within the front setback. They're requesting an 8 to 10 foot height for a solid screen wall fence along the front property line and within the front setback. Here's an overview of the CF zone parcel, an aerial view of the surrounding area, the proposed site plan, renderings of the proposed development, the existing conditions of the site, and the surrounding areas. Is there anyone here in opposition to this case, case 2021-115? Seeing none, the appellant may go ahead and state your name, address, and present your case and hardship, please.
Hi, my name is Yates Bateman with Fulmer Lucas Engineering. I'm representing the owner, EZI Sound Trust. We're requesting to construct an 8 to 10 foot screen wall along 8th Avenue within the front setback, but it will be 10 feet from the proposed right-of-way line. We are still proposing the required 4-foot grass strip and 8-foot sidewalk per the MCSP, and have pushed that wall back an additional 10 feet beyond that back of sidewalk from the future right-of-way line. The proposed building will be a standalone 2-story sound studio. The owner is a performing artist and has decided to make this their home base for their recording operation. So they will be a long-term owner and user of this space and building. In our view, there are 3 hardships. The first is noise and sound along 8th Avenue. As you'll know, it's a very busy corridor. There are a good amount of 18-wheelers that pass up and down here, specifically to the Gray Bar warehouse just north and west of here. This is less about keeping the sound in the building and more keeping external noise from infiltrating in and damaging the recording experience that they are investing in this area. Second hardship is the grades along the 8th Avenue side of this building. Going from left to right on the screen along the top, it drops about 5 feet vertically. And so as we go down, the architectural intent and what we would like to build is to have a consistent, clean line along that wall, even as the grade falls slightly, which is why we kind of included that 8 to 10 foot range. The majority of this wall would be an 8-foot screen wall. As you get on the low side at the top right of this image, it would be closer to 10 feet, but not exceed 10 feet. Finally, and most importantly, is security. 6-foot wall is currently allowed by the zoning ordinance in this, as we have it drawn here. We do not believe, and our client does not believe, that is sufficient for their safety and privacy, being a high-profile recording artist and wanting some privacy along this area, which is why they have requested the 8 to 10 foot wall there. I think it's important to note as well, they currently own the property immediately to the north, to the right on this page, where they have a much smaller sound recording area. And in the past few years have had to put up a 10-foot fence with barbed wire at the top for security, which is allowed. They have a IWD industrial zoning on that property. It is not allowed on the subject property here. That is all. Thank you for your time and happy to answer any questions.
Lisa, can we have the street picture again, please?
So you plan to tear this down and build something new?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and so, 8 feet is really tall and 10 feet is super tall. And so I just am struggling with it, and I get, I understand the point, but I also, am not, I haven't exhausted all the other potential options in my mind to say, sure, let's do, a solid opaque fence at 10 feet all the way across. So, I mean, is there a 6 foot plus, wrought iron or some other decorative, fencing that is less massive? I mean, I know you talked about crime and the area changing, but I think the area is rapidly changing toward being more pedestrian, more residential, and there's need, and the drawing that you presented with the windows in the building and the balcony, I mean, that definitely is engaging, but the 10-foot tall fence isn't to me. It feels very, urban compound, and I don't know that that's what the fence rules are there for. So again, I get all the points, but I'm thinking, is there something else that 6 foot plus some type of metal fencing that might provide safety, but not the visual intensity that this will?
Yeah, definitely understand the concern. We did look at that, some different options for 6 foot plus something on top. I think our client, for both the sound mitigation of keeping external sound to a minimum as it tries to enter the building, having that extra height to cover more of the first floor, which is where the recording studio will be, as well as just visual privacy. You could walk up to a 6 foot fence and most of us could stick a phone over the wall and take a picture, or something of that nature. So that was, on our end, that was where we ended up with that discussion, but I certainly understand your concerns.
On that street front, you're talking privacy, but that wall is mostly solid, at least from what we're seeing in the rendering, right? Is there not have you all looked at using landscaping to provide some type of sound buffer?
Within, I guess, between back of sidewalk and the wall, we have not looked at that, but I think that would be proposed. You can kind of see some landscaping along the wall there as well.
Because one thing I'm thinking is, you got a lot of people, a lot of foot traffic in this area of South Nashville. It'll be really just a harsh experience walking next to a 10-foot wall. If you have some type of solution that's 6 foot solid, some type of wrought iron above, and then the landscape buffer between the building and your barrier, then you have visual privacy, likely some type of sound buffer, and it's a better experience for pedestrians.
Yeah, and for me, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, and I think, we're in Nashville and we've got a lot of talented folks, and I do think all the issue, and again, it's not, all you've told us is it's some talented folks that are known that want to come and do this, and that's all I know, and I get it, and I live near 12 South, where I think Dolly Parton's got her big compound that she's had for 1,000 years, and and it's got big walls, and you can't see over it, and it's relatively private, although you can kind of see through the gate now and then, see if the bus is there or whatnot. But it's nicely landscaped. It's a lot more visually interesting, and it actually feels like it was. Of course, it was built at a time when that was not a very pedestrian area, and it's an extreme pedestrian area now. But at least it has kind of a more visual embracing of the neighborhood. And I think that, and maybe that goes to Mr. Cole's, or is a continuation of his point, that if there's not some kind of mixed material component to make it more interesting, there's got to be something that at least makes it more pedestrian engaging, so that when you're walking by it, it seems intentional and not just a barrier to the thing. And I think that I would be much more willing to consider some of the hardships. I mean, I think sound, I get the sound, but I'm looking at a building that's got 40-something windows I can count, and so I'm struggling a little bit with, the wall and the sound with the windows, and yet, I do think that the nature of the use may provide a hardship, but I really want something a little more. If I'm walking down the street, I notice a mural wall or something. I mean, just some. I don't even know. I don't need to solve your issue, but I think you're getting my point that that there needs to be something a little bit more interesting and engaging if we're going to ask the public to look at a massive structure like that. But that's just my.
Don't mean to shock some of my fellow commissioners up here. However, a wall like that is going to create a ton of heat just because of where the sun is. And without trees and something along there to block it, I can't go 10 feet with a solid type wall. I mean, as much as, and I live in Oak Hill, and, we see those people coming up and down all the time, and I'm sure they like their anonymity in the building when they're in the recording, but you're going to have to do an awful lot of hard convincing. I mean, I'll still listen to everybody, but solid wall, 10 foot, I wouldn't want to walk by it if you've got pedestrian traffic. And it's not real long, but it's hot. And again, I think you were sitting back there. I'm the tree guy of this, probably more so than most, again, except for maybe Mr. Pepper. But you're going to have to do a little convincing with me, okay? I mean, I'm here.
So are there other questions for the applicant? I think I don't know that I ended up with a question. I had a statement. We've had a lot of statements, and
Yeah, a lot of statements.
I started it, and I apologize, but I just want to make sure there are no other.
So just a question, has there been any consideration with removing, a significant percentage of the windows for soundproofing purposes?
I believe that if you kind of look at the top picture there, the left side, if you're facing the building from 8th, does not have windows for the sound studio specifically. I think from what I'm told from the architect that, there's only so much you can do with just a solid wall of the building. Mm-hmm. Anything extra just helps attenuate those sound issues.
So it's just sound studio on the bottom level. What's the upper levels?
Upper level will be meeting and office space for the music group.
Okay.
And may I clarify something real quick?
Sure.
I had spoken about landscaping and that we have not designed it yet. The intent is not to have nothing there. It will be heavily landscaped. We've got 10 feet of grass there to put landscape. Like I said, on the rendering here, there are plants shown, but that will be much more heavily dressed up than what's shown there.
Other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I've got one for staff for our clarification.
Yes, please.
This wall is starting at the property line? Or are we 10 feet back off the property line?
We are 10 feet from the proposed right-of-way line.
Okay, so you're back 10 feet. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
That's what I was just looking at the code because, in the first 10 feet, you can't be over 30 inches in height. So I just want to make sure you're a full 10 off the new property boundary.
Yeah, and we
Okay.
had it up right against the sidewalk, and then basically moved the whole building off
Okay.
so that we could get the wall at least 10 feet from the right-of-way line.
And so Joey, based on that, the request is certainly in our ability to decide.
Yes, all it does is changes, the minimum allowed for us goes from 30 inches, 2.5 feet, up to 6 of a
Right.
solid wall. So that's why I wanted some clarification from them. I think I'd seen an earlier version of this plan that had the wall at the property boundary.
Okay.
So I wanted to clarify that for our own purposes.
Okay. Did you have anything else to add at this point?
No, that's all.
Okay. All right, so I was going to close the public hearing, but I do think there's going to be a discussion. I'll close the public hearing, but I think we're going to have to ask the applicant something at this point. I mean, I don't have enough to say yes to today. This is just me personally speaking on it. I do, though, see that there is a path to something greater than 6 feet. And I don't want to solve it for the applicant because, I mean, again, my thoughts are not necessarily y'all's thoughts, and they may come up with something different. But I think that the concerns that have been expressed are, you know, how does it embrace the street? Is it pedestrian friendly? This makeup of it in terms of heat and impact on, trees, and how's it landscaped, and just what does it mean? I know what it means for them because they've expressed that very well, but I think we need more information on what it means for everybody else that's going to engage it as they walk by or pass by. Is that fair? And then, so based on that, I see a deferral happening. And so the question to the applicant would be one meeting or two meetings. The next meeting is September 2nd, and then the one after that would be the third Thursday in September, which would be probably the 16th, whatever the 16th.
And it would sure help me if we had some type of landscape addition to it in that 10 feet off. Not that I'm trying to bogart your.
Okay. No, that's fine. And I mean, the motion is just going to be to defer, and then, and I do, again, without us, saying exactly what the answer is, I think those components, those concerns that each of us have are important to express so that they can at least be addressed as best they can by the applicant. But so one meeting, two meetings, one meeting?
September 2nd, is that right?
Okay, September 2nd. So I'll make a motion that we defer this to September 2nd. Is there a second? There's a second, Mr. Cole. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. All right, we'll see you back in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you, and
Appreciate
good luck. And I think that's it for our meeting, right? Yay, we're done.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.org.